and concord, based on mutual respect, national interest, and reciprocity. In this regard, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will undertake a review process to rationalize our foreign missions and their respective areas of jurisdiction in line with the country's strategic interests and foreign policy objectives. Defense. Honorable Speaker, peace and security is priceless. And in this regard, government through the budget and other bilateral assistance will continue to support initiatives in defense. In 2013, major infrastructure assessments have been geared towards improvements in basic services for the armed and security forces. These assessments identify the need to do both rehabilitation and construction works for office buildings, accommodation facilities, and other amenities-related services. In the regional and sub-regional context, government will continue to support peacekeeping missions in line with AU, ECOWAS, and UN initiatives. Let me now turn to performance of public enterprises. Honorable Speaker, it was reported last year that government commits to ensuring that public enterprises remain on the path of increased efficiency and sustainability. Thus, government will continue to work on the necessary reforms to make PEs more effective and efficient. In this regard, I wish to renew government's commitment by calling on all public enterprises to improve on performance and ensure that their obligations to government are met in a timely manner, especially as regards to taxes and loan repayments. Regarding government areas to public enterprises, the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs have recently agreed with the respective PEs on a payment plan to clear such areas and to avoid their build-up in the future. Honorable Speaker, let me now turn to the fiscal outlook for the year 2014. Honorable Speaker, sir, revenues. Total domestic revenue and grants is projected in 2014 at 8.6 billion from 7.6 billion in 2013. This represents a growth of 13.5%, principally due to a 20.5% expected rise in tax revenues and a 32% projected increase in non-tax revenues. These forecasts assume that there will be improvements in compliance levels as well as the implementation of new revenue measures. Included in this total revenue projection is a budget support of $313 million from the World Bank and the African Development Bank. Expenditure. Total expenditure and net lending is projected at 10.2 billion, up from 8.3 billion in 2013, representing an increase of 22.9%. Recurrent expenditure is projected to increase from 3.6 billion in 2013 to 4.96 billion, representing an increase of 38%, whilst capital spending, including externally financed, is estimated to remain at 2.7 billion in 2014. The fiscal deficit is projected at 1.6 billion, compared to the revised projected deficit of 2.4 billion, representing a decrease of 33%. Net domestic borrowing is projected to be limited to 933 million in 2014, which represents 2.5% of GDP. External loan disbursements to finance new and ongoing projects is estimated at 2.5 billion, whilst the payments of principals on externally funded loans is programmed at 763 million. Honorable Speaker, let me now turn to revenue measures in 2014. The following revenue measures will be introduced in 2014. 1. Raise specific excise on tobacco products from $5 per pack to $9 per pack, and environment tax rate on tobacco products from 0.2 per pack to $2.10 butus per pack. 2. Raise the specific excise duty on other tobacco products from 37.50 butus per kilogram to $150 per kilogram, and environmental tax rates on other tobacco products from $75 per kilogram to $100 per kilogram. 3. Increase the presumptive tax base for commercial vehicles and boats. 4. Include customs duties and other charges in the base for calculation of excise tax. 5. Reduce the corporate tax rate by 1 percentage point to 31%, in line with government's commitment to lower the corporate tax rate to a regionally competitive level. 6. And final, introduce 15% air transport tax on sale of air tickets. This simply replaces the sales tax which was abolished in 2012. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, despite the global and domestic challenges, including international financial crisis and the recent drought, the Gambia still remains resilient. Growth is back to its pre-drought level of about 6% of GDP, driven mainly by agriculture and tourism as the anchor. Therefore, I would like to reiterate that agriculture remains a priority for this government under the distinguished, dynamic and visionary leadership of His Excellency the President, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jammeh, as clearly evidenced by his call and mantra of eat what you grow and grow what you eat. To ensure macroeconomic stability and sustain economic growth, the High-Level Economic Council, HILEC, set up by His Excellency the President and chaired by Her Excellency the Vice President, will continue to monitor budget implementation and macroeconomic developments. Although the implementation of PAGE is progressing steadily with challenges, its full and successful implementation remains the commitment of governments. Therefore, let me take this opportunity once again to call on all our development partners and the private sector to continue to work with government in nation building. In the area of public financial management reform, it is important to note that significant progress has been made in terms of reforms, and government will continue on PFM reforms to ensure judicious and optimal mobilization and deployment of public resources. Related to that, government will continue on procurement reform with the objective of ensuring transparency, effectiveness of the procurement process. It is also noteworthy that we are 2 years to the end of the MDG program, and new sets of goals are being negotiated that will take into account progress made and emerging challenges such as climate change. The post-2015 development agenda will focus on sustainable development goals with technology and financing as major themes. Inclusive growth, fight against inflation, a stable local currency, and employment opportunities remain the medium-term goal for this government, and this budget is anchored on these parameters. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.